performance.
I was picking up something there, which Andy Townsend, who was on the commentary team, said that Arsenal, perhaps the pennies dropped, they're just not a good team anymore. And I looked up your record, Kevin Nolan. Now, you were playing at the highest level from 1999 all the way to 2015 before you moved to Leyton Orient in Notts County. But in that period, you would have seen Arsenal ascending to become the Invincibles. You would have played against that batch. You would have also played towards the tail end of Arsene Wenger's reign at Arsenal Football Club. Did you see a drop in everything to do with the team, the individuals, the mentality, the softness of the team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all them words you can, you know, it was gutless. It went, you know, there was no real pride in the shirt. I think you talk about invincibles. You think them invincibles? They ran round. They made it difficult for you. They booted you up in the air when they needed to. They done all the nitty-gritty stuff. Arsenal didn't want to do that today. You know, first half they wanted to play. They wanted to do all the nicey stuff. They wanted to keep the ball, but they're not that good. They're not good enough to do that no more. You know, they're not good enough to try and play teams off the park, and that's shown by the recent results and where they are. And I'm really disappointed because I thought that Freddie Ljungberg, being a part of that invincible squad, he knew what it's about. You know, he's got Per Mertesacker sitting next to him, and you're thinking, you know, come on, lads. Surely with any knowledge of the game, you must have watched the game last week. You must have watched Man United and how they hurt and got at Man City. And it just seemed to me that they didn't have a clue, never mind the players on the field. They didn't prepare their players for what all of Man City's weaknesses and what's been shown time and time again this season, more often and more so than ever. What they did is just played into Man City's hands and allowed Man City to sort of counter-attack them, and they're probably the best in the Premier League, you know, with Liverpool at doing that. But you watch the second goal and the desire of the Arsenal players getting back to try and stop a goal, and then in the second half there, when Man City lost it late on, you've seen a desire for them all to make sure that they got back and they got in behind the ball. And I think that just, for me, summed it all. There was two clips which summed it all up. Well, Man City were a top team, winners and want to do well, and Arsenal, who were, at this moment in time, just only going one way for me.
When did you realise that perhaps from going and playing against Arsenal, particularly away from home with trepidation, because of all the players they had, the likes of Thierry Henry, Freddie Ljungberg, you could just reel off a list of Premier League legends, to then looking forward, perhaps, to playing Arsenal? I mean, that's a huge shift.
Well, look, for me, you always looked forward to playing Arsenal because you knew you were in a game, that you were playing against the best, and you always wanted to pit your wits against the best. So for me, it was always about playing, you know, trying to play well, seeing if you can outmaneuver a Patrick Vieira, a Manuel Petit, you know, all them top players, as you said, they've, you know, Thierry Henry, Ljungberg, Bergkamp, you know, you name all them, but all winners. But let me tell you, if you kick Bergkamp, he'd kick you back just as hard, because that's what they were about. You know, and if you were on top of them, they'd all work hard to make sure that they worked themselves back in the game. As I said at half-time, I was really gutted that I sort of said that Arsenal would beat Man City today, because when I looked at that today, it's been, well, for me, it's been a shambles from them. It has, from top to bottom. You know, looking at Freddie Ljungberg, he was on the sideline, you know, telling him to get up. You know, they were going in ones, twos. It didn't look like they'd done any work on the training ground. You know, you look at Bournemouth yesterday, they went to Chelsea. You knew that they'd worked tirelessly on the training ground to get that result, and you could see the elation at the end of the game from Eddie Howe, from his players. You're not telling me that Freddie Ljungberg spent time on that training ground showing them what to do?
Well, he might have done, is the truth of it, but if those players don't apply themselves when the game starts, it ain't going to happen, is it? And you can't tell me that there is a lack of talent in this Arsenal squad.
There is talent there.
There's great talent there, you know. But you have a look at Mesut Ozil, for example. You know, he's strolling around as if he's just not interested, just totally not interested. Somebody needs to get hold of that group of players and shake them, to be honest with you.
So why hasn't he done it then? Freddie Ljungberg, who's a legend, why can't he go in and have a go?
There is fundamentally something wrong within that football club, and that's gone from the top all the way to the bottom. As you said, you know, Arsenal, you come in there, there's Pat Rice, who was Arsenal system. I think he had a massive part. When Pat left, it's never going to be the same again because Arsenal does a lot of confrontation. It's all going to just free flow all the time. And when you go in...
But at least with Arsene Wenger, you were in... well, I'm saying you because you're obviously a supporter, but at least with Arsene Wenger, every year you knew that you were going to be in the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But
well, until his last couple of
years. Yeah, his last couple of seasons, but... You know, his recruitment weren't, you know, he weren't spending, was he? He wasn't doing anything. And you could see that he was probably coming to the end of his tether with the fact that he was getting a lot of stick off the Arsenal fans. So they wanted this Unai Emery. What's changed? You know, for me, how can that? That's what I'm saying.
They've come backward. There's no... with this game, summarise everything about Arsenal. There's no passion, there's no pride. The organisation look all over the place. And to the point that he's bringing 3 young players to come on and live... Like I said, on the bench, David Lewis on the bench.
That's a statement, isn't it?
So you look at it
what
thinking...
kind of statement? What's it saying to you?
I'm thinking that's a statement because Lacazette was sitting on the bench and he looked like when he sort of panned to Freddie Ljungberg, he was sitting directly behind Freddie and he looked like he was saying to Freddie, don't dare turn around and ask me to go on there now after what... It was like sort of, you've picked the team, you stick with your team. That's what it sort of looked like to me.
Yeah, I felt sorry for a couple of the youngsters that came into that. You know, like the lad Smith Rowe looks a decent player. I believe he is a decent player.
Tonight, didn't he?
And played with a little bit. But all of a sudden, he's looking around. We're like, you know, there's nobody with me. You know, I'm trying to make my way in this football club, and nobody's with me. It's a major job that they've got on their hands at Arsenal Football Club to turn the mentality round, turn the mood around in that club.
They're talking about trying to get top managers at that club, by the way. Anyone looking at that would be thinking, I'm not touching that. It's just, would Ancelotti look at that now and think, oh yeah, that's attractive to me? You know, someone out Pochettino, because this is who we were all talking about when this job come off. They were talking about Pochettino, Ancelotti, Allegri. They're going, yeah, as if not a chance. So they've got a lot of rebuilding to do, and I've got to be honest, I don't know where to start with them.
Can I ask, because another perspective, you played against the Arsenal, the great Arsenal of the Premier League era, and the not so great, but you actually, you were in the inner sanctum of the Gunners. How much of their success was down to just the sheer willpower and talent of the individuals there versus Arsene Wenger? Well,
when you say that invincible side, that group of guys, you've got probably 4 or 5 guys who will pull you to pieces. You know, obviously you've got Berg, you've got Thierry, you've got Pires. Those are good players. But at the back, you've got people like Martin Keown, you've got Sol Campbell, Kolo Touré, Lauren, and Pascal Sigan. As much as people, they might not be glamorous, but they just went and they did the job.
Solid.
Even Jens Lehmann.
Yeah, Jens Lehmann. And those guys, they won't take...
How many arguments did they must have had every day?
It's normal.
I can't see them ever arguing or having and pulling one out.
That's my question again.
The togetherness, what they show, because when you're a top team and when you win trophies, as you have, guys, right, you know yourself, you're together, aren't you?
Yeah.
They don't look together, do they, when you're watching them?
Absolutely not. You know, you didn't mention Tony Adams, for example. You know, he had his critics, of course, but you know, one thing he was totally committed, and he was a much better player than a lot of people gave him credit for as well. And I don't see any of those characters in this Arsenal squad.
Well, that's the thing.
It doesn't hurt any of those Arsenal players off the back of that performance and that result today. I can't imagine any of them losing any sleep over that.
That's why I'm going to go back to what I said. Wenger as a manager, and now Ljungberg as a manager of Arsenal, how much of it is down to the character of each player and the willpower to go out there and perform? I mean, how much influence can a manager have on the character of an individual?
Professional footballer shouldn't need a manager to tell you that you've got to be committed. You don't. For me, it's like that's the first thing on your agenda. That's the first thing when you make it. You're going to give it everything you've got on that football pitch every week, and you're going to demand it from all your other peers. That's what happens in normal jobs. Why are they so different to everyone?
But that's the thing. We're talking about Ljungberg, the fact that Ancelotti, etc., wouldn't want to come in because it seems very toxic. But really, if it's the natural character of a player, then it's not really the responsibility of a manager in that sense, is it?
I also think some of the guys in that squad don't even deserve to be Arsenal players. Because I don't think they're...
Yeah, but looking at it, they do. Because Arsenal are not Arsenal what we're looking at from 10 years ago.
Which I agree on that. Yeah. But I think if we're talking about an Arsenal player, probably
Yeah, of course.
90% of that team never been Arsenal players.
90%.
Well, apart from Aubameyang, to my eyes, I think he'll probably get in around.
He'll play in any other. He could get in any other squad in the top 5, top 4 or 5.
The rest of them, you know, you can't go to war with half of them in that pitch because they don't have it in them. You know, they don't have the mentality and the strength of going there and winning game, winning battle, and winning football game in not the most prettiest way, but the wrong way. They don't have it in them.
And the biggest thing is that you look at that stadium, fantastic stadium, and I said to guys on Fab just before, as it was starting, I said, it's empty. Yeah. I've never known the Emirates like that. Yeah. You know, they were there, you know, they were in the thousands before the game was going, because the bounce, the buzz and everything else. There's something seriously wrong with Arsenal and
I look back to when I was playing, and the standard contract back there had a clause in it that basically said it was your duty to give your very best every day on the training park and on the match pitch. I don't know if it still exists, but I think it does say so. Yeah. But I would suggest if it does still exist, then just about every single Arsenal player on that park today is in breach of contract. Because for me, they didn't give of their best. Yeah. You know, that application wasn't there. And of course, it's easy to sit in a studio and be critical of it. And, you know, I played in difficult times and had bad games and what have you. But it mattered to me. And I'm questioning if it mattered to any of those Arsenal players.
Look, I'd actually go on Twitter and tell them myself, to be quite honest, because if I was an Arsenal fan tonight, like he is, he's sitting here with his head in his hands for most of the night because he's Arsenal, he loves the club, he's seen the glorious years of Arsenal. You're going to be devastated, so they can't sit, they can't come back at us here for talking about what they've just shown us then. No. As players and what we've done in our careers, that none of them players, for me, I don't care who they are, can come to me and go, well, Kevin Nolan said this about you. Oh, well, I'll ring you up. Because if someone was saying that about me, I'd look myself in the mirror and think, well, actually, that is right. Because they cannot say that was their best performance, or they've given 110% for the club tonight, or they've worked together, or they've rallied together to try and do the best for Arsenal. What's happened? They got absolutely played off the park in the first half, and in the second half, Man City took the foot off the pedal and just went, right, we're happy with this. We'll play pre-season football to just keep us ticking along because we've got a busy winter coming up. That's what it seemed to me.